You can see the two sides on the Isuzu Ute tunnel cam. City bringing some form into this contest. They have lost just one of their last 6, but it was their most recent home match by a 1-0 against Newcastle, ending a run of 5 consecutive wins with 5 clean sheets at Amy Park for Aurelio Vidmar's side. They take on a Mariners team who got their first win in 10 matches in all competitions after 8 in the A-League. Without victory, they defeated bottom club Perth by 3-1 last weekend, and are focused, Mark Jackson's men, on finishing this season on a positive note. In the head-to-head, well, they do have something to defend, the Mariners. They are undefeated in their last 6 against Melbourne City. Aurelio Vidmar is still without the injured Socceroo trio of Jimmy Jeggo, Andrew Naboo and Matt Leckie. Jeggo and Leckie expected back before the end of the season. He's gone with the same starting 11 from last weekend's 3-2 win away to Sydney FC. Patrick Beach is looking to lead the league's most miserly defence and claim a 10th clean sheet, while at the other end, teenagers Medin Mehmeti and Max Caputo were both on the score sheet last weekend. For Mark Jackson's side, he's also kept the faith with that starting 11 that defeated Perth 3-1. Mikael Docker and Lucas Moragas operate in the wing-back roles, either side of Alfie McCalmont and Harrison Steele, Vitor Feijão and Christian Theoharis in support of the club's top scorer, Alu Kuol, who last week got his 4th of the campaign. Lovely conditions in Melbourne for this one. There is Aurelio Vidmar, our coach, the 57-year-old coach of Melbourne City, who took over midway through last season, taking on Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson undefeated in 4 matches at the helm of the Mariners against Melbourne City. Earlier this season, these two sides played out a 1-1 draw as the defenders that got the goals, Suprayon and Paul. Lachlan Keevers takes charge of these two sides for the first time this season. He's being assisted by George Lacrindis and Astro Sakalis. Jack Morgan is the 4th official. Lara Lee and Adam Kersey are in the VAR room. Medin Mehmeti, just 17 years of age when he was on the score sheet last weekend. Had a breakout season. 3 goals and 1 assist in 13 so far this term for him. The VAR room. We're just a couple of moments away now. Alessandro Lopane, the 20-year-old, made his first appearance of the season last weekend. He scored the winner in the 3-2 victory over Sydney FC more than a year after his only other A-League goal, a last-minute equaliser against the Central Coast Mariners. While Christian Theoharis was also on the score sheet last weekend, his first goal of the season, cementing that 3-1 victory over Perth, a 4th goal in the A-League for the Mariners. His first came last season in a 2-1 win over Melbourne City. Melbourne City get us underway at Amy Park, knowing that a draw, but more importantly a victory, will take them provisionally into 2nd place. A 2nd place that is all important, because if Auckland do go on to claim the Premier's plate, well, it is 2nd place that will qualify for the Champions League elite. The Central Coast Mariners, Daniel McBreen, are out of the running for the glory, barring a complete miracle, of course. They can still collect 12 points in their remaining 4 matches, but it will take that and a complete collapse of everyone above them to qualify for finals football. But they're here looking to not just be making up the numbers.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Well, where there's life,
yeah,
there's hope.
Yeah, look, of course they'll give everything to the end of the season like every team does. But the draws have been their nemesis this year. The most of any team with 10. Really struggled in that front third, but it's about pride now. Melbourne City have been fantastic at home.
And here are the Mariners looking to strike on the counter-attack, and it is Christian Theoharis who just slipped at the crucial moment, released by Alu Kuol, and almost trying to catch out Melbourne City napping.
Well, a little too easy for Melbourne City's liking. This is Bates just giving the ball away, a little sloppy. Alu Kuol driving forward, and Theoharis on the left. And just as he gets the strike away, a little slip, just coming across the ball as well.
Just one goal, that came last weekend, and one assist for Christian Theoharis this season. But he is holding down that spot in this Mariners side, who are still without the injured Ryan Edmondson, and of course Bradley Tapp, who made just 3 appearances in the centre of the park this season before doing his ACL. See there, the 5 at the back for the Mariners. Paul on the left, Sainsbury, and then Kaltak on the right of those 3 central defenders as City win it straight back. Paul under pressure, Max Caputo trying to close down there. He's back from injury. These two sides have had their fair share of injuries this season, and here's Mehmeti leading the chase to that one, but Docker is back, and that's pretty coolly done by Mikael Docker. Awkward height for Aziz Bayat, who got himself in a bit of a muddle.
Well, it's a very frenetic start to this match. 100 miles an hour, a little bit frazzled from both teams, a little bit rushed. They just need to settle into the game. You know, Melbourne City, they like to press, as we see here, 6 pressing forward. Try and put the pressure on the Mariners and turn it over high up the pitch.
Well, it's been a problem for the Mariners. Their starts this season conceded 12 goals in the opening 15 minutes of matches. 30% of all the goals they've conceded have come essentially right from kickoff. They've conceded the opening goal 14 times this season. Only Perth, who've pretty much made a clean sweep of all the negative statistics in terms of goals against, are bettering them in that department.
Certainly doesn't help your cause, does it, when you come out first 15 minutes and concede? It's an uphill battle.
Especially here, where City conceded 7 goals in their first 3 home matches of the season, have conceded just 1 in the next 6. 5 clean sheets at home, 8 goals conceded in 11 home matches this season, as Nathaniel Atkinson's pass is overhit and deep. So it's certainly a big challenge for Mark Jackson and his coaching staff. There, it's Germán Ferreira, the Argentine defender, who stayed down holding his right ear, or the head just above it. That's why.
Using his arms of immense on it. It's come up a little bit. I don't think he's meant the connection. It certainly doesn't tickle.
Good on the replay for Alu Kuol, because you can see Ferreira just checking if there's any blood, so he's clearly feeling it. It's going to be a yellow card for Alu Kuol. It was dangerous contact, intentional or otherwise.
Another look. The arm does go out to the left, doesn't it, at the last moment, which doesn't help his cause at all. And he doesn't miss Germán Ferreira.
They're spending a little bit of time making sure he's okay. Well, we know he is very committed into every challenge and duel. Alu Kuol, just the 4 goals to show for the season so far. There he's pleading his case with Ferreira, who's got the free kick. Alfie McCalmont's asking if it was given as a free kick or whether it should be a drop ball. And after that little couple of minutes hiatus, we're back underway at Amy Park. The Argentine straight onto the ball, looking for the Austrian, Andreas Kuhn. That's a fairly dangerous 1-2, and unintentional from Kuhn, and now Ferreira, with a little bit of payback, goes straight into the book.
Well, it was a sloppy header from Andreas Kuhn, dropped it in. Kuol was the quickest, and then Ferreira
didn't miss.
Nope. Kuol just nipped in front of him. A card apiece to start the match.
Well, a couple of seasons ago, and that grand final result meant that these matches last season and this have been a little bit spicy. It started true to form, and Ferreira and Kuol are together again at the back post. Mikael Docker, the set-piece specialist in this side, flicked on by Kaltak. Ferreira's defensive header. McCalmont back for Kaltak. It almost fell to Kuol. City can't get it clear, and Feijau's done brilliantly to get in behind, as is Bage. He's been clipped. Feijau wants another little booking. Not sure he's going to get any change this time out of referee Lachlan Keevers.
No, doesn't need to be asking either. He did well to nip in front of Mrs. Page, won the ball. He gets the foul. There's no need for that.
Well, clearly buoyed by last weekend's win over Perth, the Mariners are looking to belie their status as slow starters. Mikael Docker looking to keep the Mariners on the front foot here. Delivers, good ball, back post. Kaltak was there, so was Nathan Paul. Scored his first ever A-League goal earlier this season against Melbourne City in Gosford. A 1-1 draw.
Well, he always gives good delivery from set pieces, Mikael Docker. Scored 9 goals from headers this season. They're up there as well with the set pieces, goals from set pieces as well.
11 from set pieces for the Mariners. That 9 headed goals, that is 35% of their goals as well. That is a very high percentage. You know that Kuol, Edmondson as well, Kaltak at the back. Atkinson. Melbourne City, though, they don't concede many, full stop. They have the lowest expected goals against in the league. And they are now outright the best defence as well, because Auckland have conceded a goal at home in another draw for them. 1-1 with Melbourne City. Oh, Western Sydney Wanderers, rather. Melbourne City are here. The Wanderers picking up an important point on the road.
Well, maybe even more importantly, Auckland dropping a couple. Melbourne City and Western United would be looking at that and thinking, well, for a few weeks now, a lot of people have been saying that Auckland are home and hosed. Well, there's a little bit of a wobble on now.
It's 4 draws in 5 to go with 1 victory. Kaltak back to Sainsbury. They're 8 points clear at the moment, but Western United kick off in about an hour's time. Truin still playing in midfield, where he's been the last couple of months for Melbourne City. Also got the great personal boost of getting called up to the Socceroos in the last international window, even if he didn't play. Tackles flying in at the moment. Caltac on Mehmeti, and then McCalmont on Kuhn. Suprayon back with Kai Truin. And veteran Socceroo has his badge. Suprayon just taking too long. Alu Kual almost getting the break, and a real lack of ideas and lack of urgency there for Samuel Suprayon.
Well, it's been a little bit like that from both teams playing out. A little bit of indecision, then the pressure came. Both teams looking to press. This is Bates, I think, trodden on as he went in for that challenge. Just trying to walk it off. It's just been a little bit sloppy at times. Under-hit passes, just putting teammates under pressure.
Here's Suprayon again, all the way back with Beach, a young goalkeeper looking for clean sheet number 10 of the season, which would draw him level with Alex Paulson at the top of that ranking. Kuhn's touch is heavy. Docker gets it straight back from Fei Zhao. Just too casual again. Kuhn wins it straight back. The Austrian with 7 assists in his first season in the A-League. Pereira. Lopane taking too long, bundled off the ball by McCalmont. Here's Theoharis. Lopane doing enough to put the brakes on Christian Theoharis, but it was, again, a little bit sloppy from both sides at the moment in possession. Steele. Calmont gives it a bit of air with Nathan Paul. Now Sainsbury. Looks long for Docker. Harrison Steele looking for the run of Alu Kual. He won't get there. Well, let's head down to Jake Barker-Daish, who's on the sidelines for us this afternoon. Jake, what's the atmosphere like down there?
Well, the atmosphere is building. The ground, the conditions are actually perfect. There's next to no wind today, so there's no excuse for good football. Just a little touch on Melbourne City when I was speaking to earlier Vidmar pre-game was just the ball movement and patience was going to be really important today for Melbourne City. As you can see, they're just struggling to get in their rhythm. A big part of that is Central Coast is very happy to sit all their men behind the ball. Last week we saw they had 40% possession and 3 shots on goal. And last week they won the game 3-1. So it's really going to be an interesting chess match for Melbourne City, and they're particularly with their best defence in the league. You've still got to be very much aware of this Central Coast team on the counter.
Thank you, Jake. Yes, they do have those elements that when it clicks, they almost like they have that muscle memory of the last 2 seasons from winning the league and that big win over Melbourne City in the grand final that I mentioned at kickoff, that 6-1 victory as well. That when it does click, they do look like the Mariners of old. And Mackie, you mentioned the fact that they've had 10 draws. They've only had 7 defeats. It's the same number, well, 1 more than they had last year in winning the minor premiership. The problem is they've only had 5 wins.
Yeah, that's been crucial, dropping those 2 points so often, being able to find just that little bit extra in matches, which they have done so well over the course of the past 2 seasons.
Theoharis leaves it cleverly for Moragas. Early cross for Kual. Well, that was almost perfect. The ball in and Kual was ready to pounce. Excellent defensive header from Ferreira. Lachlan Keevers is already running out of patience with Mikael Docker over something. We could hear a little bit of that every time. Now he's having a word to his Mariners captain, Trent Sainsbury. Ball in. Good header away by Max Caputo. Apparently, we've heard that Lachlan Keevers was telling Docker not to talk to him like that. Now, what he was saying, Docker was clearly not happy about something as well. See Josh Rose out on the edge of the technical area for the Mariners there, just making a slight adjustment to something for the men in yellow and blue. Piace towards Caputo. Big, strong 19-year-old striker who is qualified for the Under-20 World Cup should Trevor Morgan decide to bring him into the side. He wasn't part of the Under-20 Asian Cup winning side just because he's coming back from that very serious broken bone in the ankle that kept him out for much of the season, but he's got 3 goals in his last 3. Max Caputo, and Mehmeti's won it back with Truant. Chips the ball towards Tilio, might yet fall. Ball ricocheting around and claimed by Paige Cullen.
It's a decent ball in, isn't it? Into a dangerous area. Nathan Paul read it well. Again, a little bit sloppy with the clearance. Ricochet off his own teammate, and clearance there again from Ferreira. A little sloppy. It has been half of the course for the opening almost 20 minutes. Both teams still trying to find their feet.
Paul all the way back to Paige Cullen. Looks long. Looking for those 50-50 balls for Alu Kuol, who's always ready to contest. Patrick Beach steps in to almost make it a 3 at the back with the goalkeeper in the middle. Tilio with Atkinson. Marco Tilio and Nathaniel Atkinson, who both recently brought up their 100 matches for Melbourne City. Tilio, now his 103rd appearance in all competitions for City this evening, is on the ball. Wide for his fellow Socceroo Bajic. Truant. Ferreira with Atkinson. Little touch for Tilio. He's got 2 options ahead of him. Tilio accelerates. It's on his left foot. Tilio still. Now Bajic. Tilio again. Looking to find space for the shot. It's blocked by Feijão.
Well, it looked like he'd opened up the space for a shot, didn't he? Marco Tilio just balked at it. The crowd was asking, come on, get it off the boot and have a try. Just there, it was Harrison Steele maybe that just blocked his view and thought, well, I need to move it on.
Taken quickly. Tilio on the edge of the box. The cross in for Ferreira. And he completely mistimed his header. From an offside position anyway, it wouldn't have counted.
Well, he's been saved by the flag there, hasn't he? It was a wonderful ball in. You can see that clearly an offside position. Dangerous from Tilio. Talking about the players trying to find their feet. Well, he's just starting to get comfortable on the ball, isn't he? Nice little run that ended up with winning the corner and good ball in. And when he's in fine form, Melbourne City look good.
He had that hamstring injury that really scuppered much of this campaign. Just when he was on his way back, it happened again in training. Re-injured the same injury after scoring City's first goal of the season against the Jets in a 1-0 victory, but he has been back amongst the goals. Rameses doing the job against Atkinson. Match number 102 for Melbourne City for Nathaniel Atkinson. The first ones at home for Tilio and Atkinson since they passed the century mark, so commemorated by the club today. Their excellent home record, Melbourne City, particularly since that opening couple of matches of the season, as Mehmeti taking on Caltech, is a positive for them, because they've got, this is 5 matches to go today. 4 of them, including today's, will be at home here at Amy Park. Just one trip away to Western Sydney in 2 weeks' time. Truan with Ferreira. Tilio. Back with Atkinson. Well, on the sidelines, Jake Barkadesh told us about City's intention to be patient. That's what they're doing here. And it's Mehmeti who decides to take the bull by the horns from the edge of the area. But it was patient, and they did find a little half an opening.
Yeah, well, it was good movement of the ball. In the end, he was just stretching, heavy touch off the chest, trying to get it under control. On the stretch, a little off balance. Quite collected it as he would have liked.
After those 3 initial shots for the Mariners in the opening minutes, the last 2 have come from Melbourne City. Pereira again involved with Qual. Suprayon too strong in that duel with Fei Zhao. Now Kuhn manages to stay on the ball. It's a good challenge from Sainsbury, just getting the better of Caputo. Harrison Steele, nicely done. Very tidy footwork in the middle of the park. Fei Zhao's got no options ahead of him, though.
Well, Fei Zhao turned there. He got into a good position just inside in the number 10 role. He was waiting for Mikael Docker to overlap on the outside. He looked and waited, and he wasn't coming.
Steele again, back with Paul. Sainsbury. They have moved around Sainsbury and Caltech this season, haven't they, between that central role in the 3. Sainsbury's got it today and in the last couple of weeks, but for a while Caltech looked more comfortable in that central role. Suprayon wide for Bajic. Gets it back, the veteran Frenchman. Lopane. Here's Lopane again. Great vote of confidence from Aurelio Vidmar, the 20-year-old. Tilio. Suprayon scored his first goal of the season against the Mariners back in Gosford. Alessandro Lopane, more than a year out with that ACL injury, doesn't return on the bench, straight into the starting 11 last weekend in this Melbourne City side that has great depth and has been covering injured players. And Lopane immediately, here he is on the ball with the second start. Getting a little shirt front from Nathan Paul for his troubles. Again, City with the football. Already up over 60% possession. Truan. Back to Suprayon. Caputo. Thought about coming short as an anchor in the middle. For the moment, the pass is going around the periphery. Atkinson. Cross towards Caputo. Sainsbury gets his head on it.
Well, it's panning out exactly as Aurelio Vidmar predicted. Central Coast Mariners sitting very deep.
Oh, Caputo into the area. Was he nudged by Sainsbury? Perhaps he went down a little too easily.
There was definitely contact, wasn't there? He jumped straight back up. No real question either from Caputo.
No, the arm came away from Sainsbury though a little bit. Perhaps it was just in the action of the contact, not necessarily the cause of it. Oh, yeah, there's a late challenge. Contact on Kuhn. Well, when they do come inside, let's have another look at that. There is contact, whether it's enough.
Well, we know that was definitely a foul. The more important one was the one in the box. Let's just say we have seen them given before, but I think you would probably say it's on the softer end of the scale. I think the referee got it right. There was no real protestations from the Melbourne City players either.
What the Mariners are doing well at the moment is every time the ball does try to penetrate into those central areas, it's met with not much space and generally a pretty tight marking tackle as well. Lupane leaves it for Kuhn. Tilio comes short. Oh, it's a brilliant move, surely. Well, that's from the training ground onto the football pitch. Hats off, Melbourne City. That was a class bit of football.
Well, as an assistant coach on the bench now, grinning from ear to ear, I'm sure, usually tasked with the set pieces. Wonderfully worked play from Melbourne City to open the scoring. They've had to be patient. Well, this is even patience on the Harvey Norman replay. It's 3 or 4 passes from a set piece. The little step over, that's a great ball. And this here from Tilio, perfectly weighted. I'm sure that's supposed to go in from Kai Truan, but if he's meaning to pass that, it's a wonderful layoff. And Mehmeti has the simplest of tasks to tuck it away. You know what, maybe I am being a little bit unfair on Kai Truan. Maybe he was just trying to drop that ball in the pass of Mehmeti, but either way, it's a wonderful set piece.
You could see how all the other City players celebrated as well. Isn't it lovely when a plan comes together? Medin Mehmeti, who opened the scoring last weekend in that 3-2 win over Sydney FC, gets his 4th of the season now. And he, like Max Caputo, is one of the young brigade. Like Alessandro Lupane, like on the bench this evening, the likes of Kavian Rahmani, Lawrence Wong, the kids that have been doing the business this season for Melbourne City. And the Mariners concede again. It wasn't in the opening 15 minutes, but it's for the 15th time this season they concede the opening goal. And when you know how good Melbourne City have been, particularly at home this season, particularly when they score first, well, this job just got a little bit harder. undefeated when opening the scoring this season. Melbourne City, they've done that for the 16th time now. Only Auckland, with 17 matches, are ahead of them in that department. Piace back, and again City now with the confidence of that goal. They can just take the pressure off a little bit as well. Beach, now the objective, well, I guess it's an objective at the start of every match, is clean sheet as well for the defence. It will most certainly be the case now that they have their noses in front. Ferreira, who really struggled at the start of the season to get any minutes, really, even off the bench. Often, Theoharis wins it back off Atkinson. Sliding in was Lopane, giving away the free kick. Sainsbury with Kaltak. Docker. Kai Truan operating in midfield. The little flick from Feijão came off rather nicely. Sainsbury's pass is mishit. So is Lopane's, and the Mariners have it straight back again.
You could see how quickly there the Melbourne City defence reorganised. Gave the ball away. For a brief moment it looked like it was going to be an overload for the Mariners down that left-hand side, and in a flash there were 5 blue shirts there in a 5v2. And it's with that kind of attitude why they're not conceding goals, especially at home.
Brian can't keep it in. It's also that first player, isn't it?
Yeah.
First player closest to the ball that immediately puts the ball carrier under pressure. But it's an entire art. It's not just pressing one player, it's pressing the options, it's ensuring there's no passing channels. And when you get it right, you can really suffocate an opposition side, like case in point. As now Tilio skips away again from Nathan Paul. He's got plenty of space on the right-hand side. Tilio against Moragas, chips it back post. Mehmeti! It could easily have been 2. Mazalu Cole just boots the ball clear.
Well, it's come from another Trent Sainsbury pass that went astray in midfield. Okay, Tilio, a wonderful ball to the back post.
Cohen's touch for Bajic. Now Truan. Sainsbury's clearance. Docker can keep it in with a good touch to prevent the corner. Now have to be careful. A couple of firebrands. Now Kai Truan wants to get involved. Mikael Docker shepherded away from...
Well, Mikael Docker could be in trouble here. It was all a storm in a teacup. Neither of them wanted to let it go, and then the push went to shove, the heads came together, and I'm sure I saw a little slap to the face there of Aziz Bajic.
I don't see how that can be the case between two good mates. Oh, it's just the finger. Yeah. I think he was actually, because Bajic went the finger, he went the finger back.
On first viewing, it did look like a slap, didn't it? But I think that's good refereeing. Get them together, have a little chat, calm them down.
Especially two experienced players. 9 minutes to go in this first half, which has raced by. Mariners looked very good early, really trying to take the game to City, catch them napping, but City have just taken control of things since then. Good football from Tilio again. Atkinson gives it away for Qual, but Cohen has it back, and well, because he is so physical, I think sometimes he gets a bit of a hard rap, Alu Qual. I don't think there was too much in that one.
I tend to agree with you on that one.
Suprayon with Bayage, gets it back. Cohen retrieves possession after that initial pass was intercepted. Fruin now. And again, City often bring their goalkeeper in as a 11th outfield player to try and tease out the opposition, to find extra players. Caputo with a good ball for Bayage. So often the outlet. Cohen now. Bayage sets off. See players running in every direction as well, looking to create the confusion. Atkinson with Lupane. City, who only just snuck into the finals last season under Aurelio Vidmar. They've made it every single year as Melbourne City since changing from Melbourne Heart and coming into the CFG banner. Of course, the last two seasons have been exceptional for the Central Coast Mariners. For H. Cullen diving on the ball, Aurelio Vidmar, the architect this season. He didn't have it all his own way last year. As I say, it looked for a while as though they weren't going to make finals football. Don't forget, Monday night on Paramount Plus, the Matildas are taking on Korea Republic in the second of their two-game friendly series, having won the first yesterday evening. A great atmosphere at the Sydney Football Stadium by 1-0. All the action from 6:45 Eastern Time. Don't forget to turn the clocks back this evening. Get to sleep in. Little nudge in the back. Referee says play on. Sainsbury's header, only as far as Truant. It's a good ball from Suprayon. The City looked to burst forward. Mehmeti. Bayage. Well, managed to keep hold of the ball. Here's Truant. He tries the effort. Overhit. Let's head back down to Jake Barker-Daish on the sidelines. Jake.
Well, guys, the commotion's picked up since we last touched base, but just wanted to touch on the training ground move that led to a goal, and just how important set pieces can be to open up games. It was a really cagey affair for the first 25 minutes, and that set piece that caught us all off guard had the Melbourne City bench absolutely cheering in triumph. They clearly did draw that one up. An interesting battle as well that we're just seeing down on the pitch side is Andreas Cohen, a real big player for Melbourne City, getting a lot of pressure and a lot of thought by the Central Coast Mariners, in particular Brian Keltak as that third centre-back, just coming off the line, trying to limit his quality across the game, which is going to be a very interesting watch.
We have seen a couple of strong challenges so far. You can see there that Keltak is following Cohen. Not giving him any space whatsoever. Kuhn was in outstanding form at the start of the season as well, before injury saw him sidelined for a couple of months.
Well, he's their leading assist maker as well, isn't he? So they know that he drifts into that little pocket on the left and he faces forward, he's dangerous. So they would have said, well, we've got three at the back. Ryan Kaltak, maybe the reason he is on the right is to step in there with his pace and put pressure on and his strength and not allow Andreas Kuhn to face forward.
Question for you, Macca, and I'm not sure you'll have the answer. You mentioned it in the replay of the goal. 4 passes. Does that still count as an indirect free kick?
Well, I was thinking that as well, because does that go down? It's got to be a set piece, sure.
It has to be a set piece. Well, I'm just looking at the set piece statistics for them, and indirect free kicks. They only have 1 indirect free kick goal this season. Does that count as number 2?
That was a definite set piece play. So I'm giving it to them. Whether or not Stato does, I can tell you right now, Jamo's on the bench going, that's mine. We worked out on the training pitch, we're taking it.
Fair enough too. Feijão backing in, taking out Suprayon. Feijão goes again. Again, referee Lachlan Kiva saying, don't play for things. If there's going to be contact, there will be contact. We can play on now. Feijão is also down. Suprayon is holding his back. Now, is that left knee? That was Suprayon holding his back from that last contact. Take more than that to keep these players out. Now Mikhail Dock wants to come and have another word to Lachlan Kivas. Both sides have come across to the sidelines for a bit of refreshments. Mark Jackson will probably be happy enough that his side are still, apart from the fact that they did concede from a set piece, but they're in the contest. They're within touching distance. Scott Jamieson there, very animated as always, the assistant coach, as we have another look at the goal.
It starts with the little dummy, then the reverse pass. It's that ball there that's quality. And you know that they were expecting it. The two of them at the back post while everyone was dragged to the other side on the back post area. It's a wonderfully worked free kick. And they've been in cruise mode ever since, haven't they, to be honest? Plenty of possession, just moving the ball around. Mariners are really struggling to keep any possession.
Well, there were those first 3 shots of the match that were the Central Coast Mariners, but those first 3 shots came in the first 8 minutes. They're still on 3. So it's over 35 minutes now without a shot at goal. In the meantime, City have had 6 shots and scored 1. McCalmont finding Theoharis again.
It's too slow. Feijão, Theoharis. He's frustrated now and he's slid in.
Another little flashpoint between these two sides, and Theoharis again is pleading his innocence, but it's Marco Tilio who's still down on the ground.
Well, this is Bourne, I was just about to say. It's not as bad as I don't think it's as bad as it's.
Well, it's the trailing leg.
Yeah.
That collects
so
him, I think.
Slides under him, yeah. The way everyone reacted was that first leg was the straight leg went through him, but he sort of went across the front and it was the back foot that slid underneath him. It's born from frustration. I was just about to say that Feijiao and Theo Harris were getting into the positions to try and get the ball, but the ball wasn't coming to them. And when he finally got it, he was too slow himself, and then that's it. That's the frustration. Didn't get the ball early enough, and you see there, it's an aggressive challenge, but it's, yeah, I think this is a bit over the top.
Well, I think it was also the fact that McCalmont was there that it looked like a sandwich, and it did look more.
And I think that's the right decision there.
I mean, he did collect it.
Yeah, he did. With the trailing legs, slid through, but.
Third yellow card in this first half. Marco Tilio is back to his feet. Who is the referee?
He's pulling Feijiao over.
I saw Feijiao. Is Feijiao involved? Looked like McCalmont. Just trying to think.
They all ran in. Everyone ran in. So
Atkinson was certainly number one. First cab off the rank. Yeah, I'm going to see yellows for those two as well. So 5 yellow cards in this first half now, which suggests that it was possibly a little bit more spicy than it actually has been.
Well, there's been a little bit of feistiness in there, hasn't there? A little bit of niggle.
Truan gets us back underway. Mehmeti, nod down for Bajic. City, apart from those first 10 minutes, when they just were a little rusty getting into the game, they have been far more proficient in possession, known more or less what they wanted to do with it, have been in control of the game. Mehmeti, the nod down. Too tall in that challenge for Docker. That's clever from Kai Truan. Bajic with Mehmeti. The 3 minutes of stoppage time are up. Of course, 2 of those were spent sorting out the melee. Now Bajic. How much time will the referee add on? There was a little look at the watch then. Suprayon brings it back out. I think that will be just about that for this first half at Amy Park. It was a bright start from the Central Coast Mariners. To Amy Park, just in time for kickoff at the start of this second half. It's the Mariners that are chasing the game by 1-0, and apart from that opening 8 minutes in which they really tried to catch City napping Daniel McBreen, it has been fairly comfortable and a well-deserved 1-0 lead for Melbourne City, who scored the goal from a fantastically worked free kick move.
Yeah, that's right, Robbie. Took a little while for Melbourne City to settle into the game. A little bit sloppy with their passes and touches, and that allowed the Mariners to have a couple of opportunities, but since then they've really grown into the game, taken control of it, moved the ball around well, and have looked the team most likely.
And they're looking to make a bright start here. If Mehmeti has stayed on side, they could have a first opportunity here, deflected wide, but the flag does eventually go up. 4 offside on that far side against Medin Mehmeti, who got his 4th goal of the season. It was he that was on the end of that fantastically worked 4-pass move from the set piece. Kuhn, Tilio, Truen and Mehmeti.
I'm going to get you on one of your stats technicalities here and say it was 3 passes and a shot.
Fair play, fair play. 4 touches. Paul's header forward, only as far as Lupane. It was Mehmeti. The very tall and large-framed 17-year-old who's had to shoulder a lot of the goal-scoring burden earlier this season when so many players were sidelined with injury. It was a steep learning curve for the youngsters. A little bit like a sink or swim moment for many of them. And the fact that they're all still here and on the bench means that they're swimming pretty well.
Yeah, I think Mark Jackson would have asked his team to move the ball a little quicker. When we spoke in the first half, a little bit of frustrations with Feijao and Thea Harris getting into the midfield, into areas, and sloppy passes like that haven't helped them.
Sainsbury again. That pass out, that's a nice touch from Docker. Looking to find a little bit of space, does so with Moragas down this left-hand side. Moragas comes back infield with Harrison Steele. That's another mishit pass with Thea Harris just caught on his heels.
Well, that there just paints a picture, doesn't it? And that's the body language we've seen. It's just, you know, it's been a difficult season for them. They know they can't make finals. Mathematically they can, but realistically they can't. It just seems a little bit of air of resignation when a poor pass or a poor touch. It's not through effort or application, it's just frustration. Things haven't been going their way. Sloppy passes here and there. Can't quite find the passes they need to break through this Melbourne City press.
And again, we saw it just there, even with first time passing and trying to move the ball around. They're just inviting that press from City. It's making it very difficult for the Mariners to put their foot on the ball. Mind you, it is possible to play out of a press. You have to be technically good, you have to know where your teammates are, and you need movement. Tilio for Truen. For Mehmeti. Bajic overlapping. Mehmeti finds him now. Square ball for Caputo all the way across the face of goal. And just like that, City could have had a second.
Well, they've been very patient, haven't they, Melbourne City, when they've moved the ball around. They've been pretty slick at times. Haven't really opened up the Mariners' defence, apart from that free kick which led to the goal.
Atkinson with Tilio. Oh, now Calmont just just apologises. He knows he caught Alessandro Lopane. There it is, the sweeping left leg. Again, knew exactly what he was doing. There's the live ladder as it stands. Now that does include a third-minute goal from Rhys Bozanovsky for Western United in their match against Perth. They lead there as well, so City, if they do win and Western United win, they will stay in second and third place, but you can see the gap back down to the Western Sydney Wanderers. Melbourne Victory, who have the bye this weekend, and then Adelaide, who take on Sydney FC later today. That is a massive match coming up on 10 Bold and Paramount Plus after this one and after football tonight. Suprayon. Desperation at every level from City just to keep the ball in their possession, not allow the Mariners the chance to break. Tilio inside, Marco Tilio. Feijão defending initially well, then Truan's shot, the follow-up. One with the left, one with the right. Thank you very much. Comfortable enough for Parage Cullen.
Well, again, it was Marco Tilio picking the ball up on the right-hand side. He was the one who moved the defence around and created the space. Quite Truan to get the strike away, but plenty of yellow shirts in front of him. I must say, the onus really is on the Mariners to come out and put some pressure on. Down 1-0. And City will be happy to keep moving the ball around like this. Really had a threat at the other end.
Patrick Beach has been largely a spectator. Little 1-2 with Kuhn. Mehmeti, his touch was a little heavy. Well defended Sainsbury, who came out quickly to close down the danger. Now Tilio onto the left, trying to poke it through to Lopane.
And there you see part of the prop book.
There's a mistake. Qual with the opportunity. I think that's come off a City defender. Well, what happened there? It was a real mix-up at the back between Ferreira and Beach. And it's going to be a corner for the Mariners.
It was a sloppy pass. Patrick Beach. And then the Inquisition went on after. Where were you going? What were you doing? I was just about to say that that's part of the problem for the Mariners, that they're so deep in defence. Alu Qual is almost 10 metres off his own box and deeper at times, that when they do win the ball, there's nowhere to go forward.
The Mariners' tall timber coming forward. As we mentioned, they are good from a corner. They are good in the air. Mehmeti trying to keep Alu Qual away from Patrick Beach. Mikael Docker to deliver the set piece. In it comes, good ball as well. Truan with the header. Feijão with the acrobatics well over the crossbar.
Well, Christian Theoharis threw his arms up in frustration. He was facing the play. Much as this ball comes down, he'll come into the screen there. Look, he's running on, facing the goal, looking to strike the ball. A few choice words between the Mariners players this time.
There's the Mariners bench. Miguel DiPizio and Nick Duarte, two of the attacking options on the bench. A couple of youngsters as well, including Lucas Shikluna. Mehmeti's goal for Melbourne City means that their last 13 goals in the A-League have been scored by players 23 years or younger. They are the side that have given the most minutes to 19-year-olds or younger all season.
club that has the financial capabilities to go and get more players than the others, but it's good to see that. I know a lot of it was imposed on them, and we can say, well, they had to do it, but they threw the kids in when needed, and they, as you said earlier, they've done the job.
Well, there are the experienced players that are out injured, along with the young kids coming through the ranks who have been around the first team already this season and done a really good job as well, the likes of Marian Suleimani. As here goes Tilio. Oh, look at the space on the left for Mehmeti again. Cuts it inside. Caltac, it's a good save from Parange Cullen. Now Lopane for Caputo. His shot blocked, and Nathan Paul, in the end, has to just scrap the ball away. Atkinson with Tilio. Again, Tilio's ability to find a little bit of space. That was a rather lazy pass, though, for Truant that time. Lopane with McCalmont wrestling. Tilio does well. Here's Caputo with Truant. Good play again from City. Bajic sells the big dummy. Kuhn. And now Tilio again. Atkinson, and Thea Harris is just there, but it's not far away from coming off for City at the moment. They really have the Mariners on the rack. Look at the time. They're all sitting back, everyone behind the ball. Again, they're happy enough, I think, to let City have the ball here. It's when they come inside that it becomes slightly more concerning.
Oh, they relied on equal measure of Brian Caltac and Parange Cullen on the last break to get them out of trouble. It's all good and well to let the opposition have the ball, but it is both mentally and physically draining. You feel you're never touching the ball, you don't have any extended possession. It is draining.
Here they come again, Bajic. Kuhn, who shoots this time. You can see him just before then, almost in a waltz with Brian Caltac on the edge of the box, trying to get free.
This is the earlier effort. Tilio just rolling it wide. And look here, Brian Caltac just does just enough to put Mehmeti off. And then Parange Cullen does very well to get out and close that angle down. And then on the follow-up, again, they do just enough.
Truant with Atkinson. Qual still prepared to run down everything, make life difficult. It's a real headache for opposition defenders. No pressure in the middle of the park. Here's Bajic with Lopane, former Western Sydney Wanderer. Atkinson, grand final winner with City before he headed over to Scotland. And a Joe Marston medalist as well. Here's Truant. Mehmeti for Bajic. Kept it in, has he? Just. Preparing a change. Looks like Miguel De Pizio is preparing to come on. The injury that kept him out, that knee injury suffered right on the eve of this season was a big blow for Mark Jackson and his side.
He had a bit of a breakout season last year, didn't he? And obviously got himself a goal in the grand final. Now we're looking for even bigger and better things this season. As you say, injury curtailed that, so it's still trying to get the max fitness back up.
Feijão, who was lively in those opening minutes, makes way right on the hour mark, so DiPizio continues his return to full fitness. Very exciting young player, Miguel DiPizio. Here's Atkinson. To Lupane, couldn't control. Diaharas just manages to win the goal kick off Lupane. Melbourne City, who will wrestle back the mantle of the best defence if they keep a clean sheet, with just 20 goals conceded. They've also conceded the fewest shots on target at their goal this season. Auckland, let's not forget, started the campaign with 5 consecutive clean sheets and 6 wins. Have led from the front all season. They have conceded 21 goals now. Beach will claim that. And they say defences win championships. Well, they're 1 and 2 in the league at the moment. And of course, we have a final series. Don't forget, the under-17s, the Joeys, are in action against the UAE very early on Tuesday morning on 10 play, 3:05 AM against the UAE. They were held to a 1-1 draw in their opening match last night against Vietnam. Quinn McNichol with an excellent goal after missing a penalty early. Well, perhaps not.
A bit of debate on that, isn't there? Did it go across the line? I'm sure most of us Australian football fans will say yes.
It looked very close, and it was a shame to concede that equalising goal. Fortunately, they could have conceded one in the very last minute as well, which would have been a little unjust because they dominated proceedings. Looking to continue Australia's excellent form this year in youth tournaments. For the men and the boys, here's Docker. He does well for Moragas. With Diaharas. Could have played the 1-2, instead he just turned into trouble. No free kick. Lupane wanted one. Moragas there wants a hand. Atkinson does well, but it bounces off Max Caputo. Hasn't had many opportunities this afternoon, Max Caputo, other than just try and put himself about. Tilio. Very nicely done. Great way to find some space through the legs of Harrison Steele.
It was just a sloppy ball forward, wasn't it? More hopeful. See if you can get on the end of that.
Now Tilio comes again into the area, confronted by McCalmon. Good challenge. He and Diaharas. Now Truan. Suprayon has to chase. He's not the quickest anymore, the experienced central defender. Qual was, his eyes lit up for a moment there. Mehmedi. Bajic again with a bit of a hopeful ball forward, cleared by Sainsbury. There's Qual looking to make a nuisance of himself still. Was he fouled there by Atkinson? Looked like he might have been.
Yeah, I thought his foot was just hooked as he went to take the step.
Referee says play on. Qual's back to his feet. City are once again back in possession as we approach the midway point of this second half. Still only a goal to nil, which means the Mariners are still there. We saw a little half a chance for Alu Qual. You can see down at the bottom of your screens there momentarily that both sides are preparing the substitutions. It was a great ball from Tilio, and again Caputo just half a yard short in the middle as those changes are coming now.
Tap there, this is the ball. Tilio right across the 6-yard box, just asking for a touch.
Lawrence Wong and Steven Ugarkovic coming on for City. Lopane and Kuhn making way, while Alu Qual and Christian Theoharis come off at Storm Roux. And Nicholas Duarte come into the contest. Storm Roux, who's heading off to the World Cup, all things being equal, with New Zealand, who qualified during the last men's international window. There is Nick Duarte, scored that late equaliser against Wellington, his first ever A-League goal. Another who's had his injury problems this season, a broken leg, keeping him sidelined at the start of the campaign. Nathan Paul lining that one up from a long way out.
As we approach the final 20 minutes, Jackson will be hoping Pizio Duarte can inject some enthusiasm in that front third.
Well, there's one. Go Chase. Then Beach comes outside his box to header clear. Kai Truan. It was Duarte who gave chase. Warren Caltech's big up and under. Well, we haven't seen if they've managed to play their way through it. Truan back for Wong. And again, Moragas just gives it straight to Ugarkovic. Tilio. Good quick feet. Steele with DiPizio. Better from the Mariners. They've also been trying to get a few numbers forward, but Caputo back doing the defensive job.
Yeah, well, it was great Harry first from Lawrence Wong and then Caputo. And under pressure, Harry Steele took an extra touch that he didn't need to, or because he didn't have an option under the pressure. That was enough for them to get the ball back, and it's the story of the day, really.
Bajic. Straight back from Lawrence Wong, one of these City youngsters to have come all the way through the ranks from the school, through the academy, the entire City pathway. Mehmedi looking for space. Truan closed down by McCalmont. They hold on to the ball. They come again. They reset. They keep the pressure on. Truen with the switch for Atkinson. Moragas backing in, it's out for a goal kick. Let's head back down to Jake Barker-Dash on the sidelines. Jake.
Well, guys, definitely a time in the game for fresh legs to be coming in. I feel a very important moment for Melbourne City just to keep a lot of zip in the game and pace, particularly with the quality they have in the front third. They want to be really clinical coming into these last 20 minutes as we start to see Marco Tilio start to find those pockets, Ugarkovic and also Wong coming on. It'll be really interesting to see how that plays out. You just question as well Central Coast. They're still yet to register a shot on target. They're still having 5 men at the back. So I wonder if Mark Jackson will be looking, whether he's shifted some players on, but whether he shifts the formation just to go a bit more aggressive to put some pressure on Ferreira and also Suprayan at the back there.
Yeah, it's the question of when to abandon and go for the attack, isn't it? Still 20 minutes left. If you go too early, then City open you up and get that second goal. But it's true, we have seen Mikael Docker playing a little higher up on that right-hand side in the last few minutes. With the arrival of Stormroo. His presence there, he is looking to press.
I just feel, what have you got to lose at this stage of the season where you're sitting in the league, rather than just sit back and try and soak up the pressure? I agree, Jake. Be a little bit more adventurous. Can you maybe even push a Sainsbury into a 6 role and have the 4 at the back? Push another midfielder higher up, Harry Steele or McCalmont. Just need to do something because they're not really getting, well, what, 32% possession. Haven't had a shot on target. Haven't looked like doing much going forward. It's been a lot of one-out stuff first with Alu Kual, and then now with Duarte just trying to maybe muster something in a one-on-one challenge as we see Suprayan go down with the left calf.
Now, is that concerning for Suprayan? He's looking for the little moment, the point inside that calf of where the problem is. They wouldn't want to lose him at this stage of the season. He's been very good this term for them at the back. Options for Mark Jackson on the bench. Well, Diesel Harrington is a defender. Lucas Shikluna, the young midfielder. There is Abdel Faisal, who could come on for a change of formation.
Are we talking about Suprayan? For Suprayan?
No, for the Mariners, for the change of formation.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about for Suprayan. I thought, hang on a second, what's going on here? We've had some trades in the offside, in the window. Sorry, apologies, Robbie.
There are no central defenders on the bench for Melbourne City.
That's what I was looking at, and then you started throwing out Mariners' names, so I was confused.
And it is going to be Callum Talbot who comes in, so there will have to be a little reshuffle. Perhaps Stephen Ugarkovic has played central defender in the past. Kai Truen would be an obvious one as well, who could step back, but it does look as though that's the end of the road for Samuel Suprayan. Well, there's no point taking any risks now. There's a month left in the regular season before City will be hoping to play finals football. Alan Talbot just getting a little word from Sander Krabbendam, the goalkeeping coach. Arrived from the Ajax Youth Academy in the Netherlands. There's Rahmani is going to come on as well, so a little bit of a reshuffle. It's Medin Mehmeti who's coming off. The goal scorer for Melbourne City. So he's replaced by Rahmani. And Suprayan makes way for Talbot. Kai Truen goes back into the centre of defence.
Well, talking about a restructure, we've been talking about the wrong team. Daniel Atkinson now moves into that midfield, advanced midfield position.
Mehmeti's 4th goal of the season for the moment is worth 3 points to Melbourne City. Caputo. Strong. Now who's that come off? Caputo last. Goal kick. He's got one change left up his sleeve. Aurelio Vidmar. As it stands, the race for second place is still on. Perhaps the race for the Premier's plate as well. It's 5 points at the moment, with 4 matches left to play for Auckland and Western United.
And let's not forget they play each other in the final round.
What a match that could be at Ironbark Fields on the last day of the season, with everything at stake. Now, free kick for the Mariners. Nearly half their goals this season, 43%, 11 of 26, have come from set pieces. Docker plays a big part in that. He delivers. Not a bad ball. Truen. The header as Beach came searching. Kaltak. Truen again. And Atkinson completes the clearance. The Mariners all the way back to Parayach Cullen. We're inside the last 15 minutes. Kaltak and Sainsbury stayed forward as long as possible to try and hope that the ball would come back quickly. Good touch from Sainsbury as well to find Steele. Now DePizio. Moragas. Step overs, good challenge from Marco Tilio. Talbot. Big up and under. He's got a goal in Asia for Melbourne City, but still waiting for that first A-League goal. Callum Talbot. DePizio slides the ball inside for Duarte. DePizio again. Talbot. Again with Truen. Mariners are certainly playing higher up the pitch all of a sudden.
He also came off the back of DePizio, getting the ball, moving it quickly and making a forward run, and getting the pass back. Just a little bit of zip in the action.
That goal the Mariners conceded back in the 29th minute from Medin Mehmeti, the 800th that they've conceded in the A-League. They become the 3rd side after Perth with 838 and Newcastle with 804 to concede 800 goals. If they are to score, that would be their 750th as well. Would become the 5th side to score 750 A-League goals. Atkinson with Wong. Ugarkovic. Talbot back. City do know how to keep a clean sheet, but I'm sure they'd breathe a little bit easier if they had a second goal all the same. Mariners have shown signs of a little more life in the last 10 minutes. Talbot for Tilio. Back again. And all the way back to Patrick Beach, He looks long. Rahmani gets there ahead of Kaltak. Garkovic with Bajic. They've made the Mariners do a lot of running on this pitch today. Now a little bit more incentive for the Mariners to try and press and chase the ball in those situations, and that's where it could get dangerous for City. But also by the same token for the Mariners, they start leaving a few spaces at the back. Again. They've gone past comfortably 500 passes in the match now. Over 2/3 possession as well. 12 shots to 5. 5 on target for the home side. They have restricted the Mariners to little in the 82 minutes so far of this contest. Atkinson with Wong into Caputo, back to goal. Atkinson now with Bajic. He looks up, crosses over Caputo. Aragas, you see it out of play. So it is Abdel Faisal who will come on now, and Lucas Shikluna. So 4th and 5th changes for Mark Jackson's side. As Alfie McCalmont comes across to get a couple of words of advice from Danny Schofield, the assistant coach. Sainsbury and Steele, the players making way. That's come off. Duarte. Throw for City. Still probably 10 or 11 minutes left with stoppages. Plenty of time for the Mariners to try and salvage something from this one. They may have gone winless in 8 A-League matches before that win over Perth, but 5 draws in those 8 matches, as Macca said right off the top. 10 draws this season. They lost 6 games last year. They've only lost 7 this year. Last year they were premiers, but only 5 wins against 17. Mark Jackson had the highest win ratio for a coach in a season of the A-League last year. A record-breaking campaign in so many levels as they did that treble. Second season has been a very different situation. Oh, free kick right on the edge of the area. Kai Truan. Faisal says it was inside the box. It's a yellow card for Kai Truan. It was certainly mistimed.
It was a good ball over the top. It's clearly outside the box. Kai Truan just caught on his heels a little bit there. And Talbot got caught under the ball. He doesn't foul him there. It's a very dangerous situation.
Yet might be a very dangerous that situation. Because Mikael Docker is once again standing over this free kick. Only one in the wall. It's Marco Tilio. Docker. A few cheers ring around Amy Park to try and put the Brazilian off. The first game ended 1-1 between these two this season. Docker goes straight for goal, perhaps, certainly into the mix. Beach is fouled. It was a solid punch, and look at the reaction from his teammates. A couple of words with Duarte as well.
Well, he hasn't had too much to do today, Patrick Beach. That one little blemish with the missed pass, but there, under pressure, Nathan Paul isn't a small bloke. There's been a little bit of that today, hasn't there, right from the get-go?
Plenty of exchanges like that between players. I think Nathan Paul, when Beach fell on top of him, was basically trying to hold on to Beach's leg to not let him up. Face out. And Atkinson wrestling. There's the Paramount Plus player index with just a couple of minutes left. Mehmeti still leading the way. It's his goal that still separates the two sides. Truen, Tilio and Atkinson, they have dominated the ball and dominated the chances as well. Perage Cullen has done pretty well dealing with the danger. Could do nothing for the goal, which was a real gem on the Melbourne City training ground.
I was just looking back at the scores of Melbourne City this year. They've been involved in 9 1-0 wins if it remains the same today. 6 of them in their favour, 3 against. So always a tight affair, not many goals scored. A few 1-1 draws in there as well. Takes you back to the old days in Italy. 1-0, keep the ball, move it around. Happy with that. They haven't been really tested today, have they?
In those days, goalkeepers could pick up back passes and everything.
Exactly.
Long from Nathan Paul. Kai Truen does well. Look out, here's DePizio with Docker. Lovely touch, Mikael Docker. Fouled by Bajic. Yeah, yellow card for Aziz Bajic. They're starting to rack up. I had to check very quickly whether he was one of the players who'd already received one.
I saw you went straight to your notes for that one. That flurry of yellow cards at the start of the match. He wasn't involved. He was involved in a couple of incidents, but nothing Vancouver's thought was warranting of a yellow. It was probably another good foul. We'll talk about Kai Truen's earlier. Experience there from Aziz Bajic.
Ferreira, Atkinson, Truen. They've all got yellow cards. Now Bajic joins them. That's 4 defenders for City. And Docker maybe lining this one up. 90th minute. Mikael Docker goes around the wall. Didn't look far away. Patrick Beach was flying across his goal trying to get there.
Well, yeah, it wasn't too far. It just clips the outside of the side netting.
It was well struck around the wall. Just not coming back quite enough, but it wasn't far away from Docker. It's as close as the Mariners have come. And still, not a shot on target as we tick over into the first of 4 minutes of stoppage time. Coming up next, more entertainment. Western United are currently in action against Perth, and then on 10 bowled after football tonight, Adelaide United versus Sydney FC. 6 v 7, 3 points separating them. Massive contest with an eye on the top 6 places in finals football. Looks like Jonathan Cohen is preparing to come on at some point. Lawrence Wong gives chase. Bajich's header. Rahmani, Caltech, and then Ferreira. Faisal with Moragas. Everyone appealing for free kicks. And feel the tension just ratcheting up with every second that passes now. Marco Tilio in the 5th and final change for Melbourne City makes way. Very good again, played his role in the goal as well. Marco Tilio. Jonathan Cohen, who is still Melbourne City's top scorer this season, with 4, the last goal of which came against Melbourne Victory before Christmas. A 1-1 draw.
Well, if you keep winning 1-0, doesn't really matter, does it? And to be fair, some of the other youngsters are starting to pitch in, aren't they? They're doing their bit for the team.
They did have a little period where they failed to score. 3 matches in a row, so about 4.5 hours, 5 hours of football without scoring. For A.H. Cullen, there's 90 seconds left. Caltech. Lawrence Wong charges it down and does well to bring the ball under control. Now he's given it away though, dispossessed by Storm Roux. Docker rides the challenge of Caputo, turns Atkinson. Oh, and then everyone had turned their backs and was charging forward.
Well, there's a couple of actions there that really sum up the day. Firstly, Brian Caltech got blocked down near his own box, just waiting for a pass. And Docker did well, then gives it away. And Brian Caltech again blocked, trying to play forward.
Talbot catching Faisal. Play continues. Duarte. Good switch, but Bayich ever watchful. Roux with Shikluna. McCalmont with Nathan Paul. It has to happen now for the Central Coast Mariners. DiPizio. Faisal. Back for DiPizio. Is this the chance? The Mariners back outside. Moragas, the cross, back post. There's yellow shirts there. Storm Roux is one of them. But he can't keep the header down. And it's a goal kick. And that was the last action of this contest. A real arm wrestle in the end between these two sides. But most importantly, Melbourne City are provisionally second ahead of the result of Western United. A win for Aurelio Vidmar's side, their 12th of the season. And Mark Jackson